Alright, y'all, I'm out here by the compost heaps, and I usually don't do videos like this because first off, I don't really like being on videos. I like making videos, editing videos, and putting content out there, but I don't like me being on them so much. But I figured I need to start doing a little bit more of this if I'm going to be more of this community. And there's really no point hiding. I mean, the government knows about all of us anyway, and that's mainly why I want to stay incognito, I guess, on what I do. But I don't think it really matters much anymore. But anyway, I was gonna kind of move the camera back a little bit to get a better shot. I think it's picking up my voice well enough. But one of the things I don't like to act like I'm teaching too much about this, and as far as like being someone that knows everything about it. I see a lot of that going on in a lot of the videos, and even some of those big channels just leave me shaking my head that why it's sad that so many people hang on every word they say, and it's obvious they're smart and they know their things on some things, but it just drives me insane that they come off like they're the professionals of the world. You know, just they're such great professionals in this, and it's obvious if you watch that they're not the smartest what they like to say they are. It drives me insane that I sit there and I watch them and I'm like, they'll sit there and say, this is how we do things on this homestead, and it's obvious it's the first time they've done it. How the hell are they teaching anyone anything if it's the first time they've done it? And this isn't how you do things on your homestead. This is how you first time learning something. So tell it what it is. Don't act like you've been doing this all your life when it's obvious it's your first time. And if people don't know that it's their first time, they'll actually kind of give hints that it is. I'm looking at the directions and it doesn't, I don't even know what this part is here. Don't act like you're the genius of the, don't act like you're teaching someone this. This is ridiculous. And how many things can one person be a professional at? Ask yourself that. And how many insider knowledge things can one person have? I'm well educated in certain aspects of life by academics. Very well educated by some things in academics. When I was in college, because of my own indirection, I learned a lot of things. I took a lot of courses in areas that weren't pertaining to the majors I was in, or I went into majors that I never exactly finished in. I was in wildlife and fisheries. I was in agronomy. I was in botany. I was in pre-veterinary medicine, and that's what I really wanted to be. And then I ended up in laboratory medicine, and it's called clinical laboratory sciences. And I took it to the next level in that and got a master's and studied molecular diagnostics and transfusion medicine, and I have a specialist in transfusion medicine. And the specialist is probably equivalent to a doctorate. I know what I'm doing in that. I am a professional. I am a master in that. But when it comes to the things like this, like building soil and gardening and homesteading and farming, I've just been stuff I've done all my life. It's been a lesson in learning by doing. But I've not always had the access to the things I have now. I mean, I grew up in suburban areas with a family that actually had kind of a rural background. My mom and dad came from very meager income, a very meager households, very meager households. And I know we lived in a different area than what I'm living now. We lived in swamps, and the grounds were different. It was great grounds to grow things on, and I learned a lot of how to garden. I started gardening. I remember asking my dad to teach me how to garden when I was probably 8, 9 years old, and he went in the shed and got a shovel, and he said, well, this is what you start with. And then we started turning the ground. We started taking that shovel and turning the ground with a spade shovel. And I grew some great gardens when I was little. I mean, I direct sowed my tomato seeds and everything. Grew great gardens. What wonderful, wonderful time. But as life went on, I started learning more and more about gardening, and we ended up with land in different areas in the country. So different things happened. And I started learning different ways to garden. Now, when I was in college, I took courses in animal science because it was conducive to the pre-veterinary medicine that I was in. And I worked on a farm, and I worked in barns. I worked with large animals. I worked with small animals. I worked with raptors, birds of prey, which are raptors. I worked with ducks. I worked with pigs. I worked with dogs. I worked with cows. I worked with horses. I even watched an autopsy of an elephant. Well, it's not an autopsy. It's called a necropsy. So I watched a necropsy of an elephant one time, which was quite interesting, the way they do that. But what I'm trying to get at, and what I'm trying to say, is people, be careful of what y'all listening to on some of these channels. I am very transparent on my channel. I am not trying to tell you I am a genius. I am showing you what I do and what works and what fails. And I try to be so upfront about how I am not a professional. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm just like the person who's sitting on the other end of this screen right now watching this and saying, I wish I could do something. Well, I wish I could do more. But it started with me buying a piece of land, and hey, I had to mortgage it. All these people that say, oh, go out and buy your own piece of land. Let me tell you something. When you get money through inheritances and you can retire because of you're of age, and things are a little bit different in life, it's easier to tell people that you shouldn't have mortgages or you shouldn't have debt. But let me tell you, I got myself in some debt, but I'm digging my way out of it now, and I'm also getting older. I'm in my 50s now. I'm just in my 50s. And in saying that, I cannot believe people sit there and on their high horse and tell other people, you shouldn't buy any of this if you can't buy it outright. Yeah, I understand in the Bible, and I'm a big Bible guy. I'm a Christian, and I believe in usury is a sin. But in this day and age, it's almost impossible to buy a homestead without going in debt. And I won't hold it against anyone, because I did it. I had to get it. And let me tell you, when I bought this land, when I bought this property, it took everything in my power to get it. Barely scraping by to get it. And 5 years later, it's worth twice as much as when I bought it. Now, I would never sell it, but I could never buy it again. I could even try and mortgage to get this. So I'm in a much better place now. I've got a lot better, and I've been paying off all the debt. And I got most of it, almost all of it gone, except for what I have on my mortgage. But I have almost all the extraneous debts gone. So it almost breaks my heart when I hear people tell you, you can't don't go in debt. Most people will never ever be able to attain the dream of having a homestead if you don't go in some debt. So I'm not surely not giving you financial advice, but I'm also telling you, watch out what those people say. A lot of times their position in lives are a hell of a lot different than where your position is. And I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just saying I see a lot of people saying these things, and they come from different means. And just watch out what you hear. I'm very happy where I'm at in my life, and things could be better as far as, you know, if I had not, probably, to make it not a lack of better words, piss away money like I did earlier in my life. But to say that you can't be in debt is just, it's going to exclude a lot of people from being able to at least try and attain this lifestyle. And there are some hard times coming, and I'm worried about what's getting ready to happen with financial. But I was this worried in 2008 about this. And here we are in 2023. And if I would have been putting off things to this long, I would have never, ever moved. I would have never went forward. So move forward. Do what you can, and watch what the other people say. Watch what other people tell you. And just do what you know in your heart you can handle. If you can do that, do what you know in your heart you can handle, and you'll be fine. Everyone goes through hard times. Every one of us has hard times. But we can make them get easier as we go along and learn. I'm just trying to give some uplifting advice, because I see a lot of people who are looking at some of these homesteaders and thinking that there's some genius knowledge that they have, and they don't have genius knowledge. They have maybe a little bit more exposure, but they don't have it all.